This Swansea team is not packed full of superstars, and we have never been wonder kid shopping. It's just full of honest-to-goodness footballers. And yet, with the tactic that we have decided to use, we have gone from nothing to winning the Premier League within 3 seasons of being there. I've had some requests to share the tactic and the philosophy behind it. And so today, well, that's what we are going to do. Let's go and kick some balls. And welcome back to the Liberty Stadium in Swansea and to FM22 with Old Man Phil. And it is nice to have you along today, but today we are doing something different, and we're going to have a look at the tactic that I've used in this Swansea save, which has proved to be so successful as we have made our journey to the top and champions of the Premier League. And we have no superstars. We have never been wonder kid shopping. We have just started with a template based on the players that we had at our disposal, and we've adapted it until we have come and arrived at where we are today. So we will take a look at the template that we use, which allows us to do 3 things. It creates us a lot of chances, and it also is very defensively solid, and it allows us to make very minor adjustments to the way that we play based on the team that we are coming up against. And it is, as you can see, a very, very simple little tactic. It is a 4-1-3-2, a tried and tested tactic that works very, very well and is very solid at the back. And we want to play the game in the middle of the pitch. We don't want to be playing out wide. We have a lot of strength in the middle, and so that's where we are going to focus our particular style of play. We're going to be playing through the middle, trying to create chances very much up and down the centre. We are going to allow the opposition to control the outside. We don't have a problem with that. We're going to use the fullbacks for our width, but the fullbacks are going to be sitting narrower, and you'll see why later. That's important. And everything is going to be dragged into the middle area of the pitch where we can control the game, and the opposition are going to have to play the game our way. So just quickly running through what we do, basically you can see everything's focused up through the middle of the pitch, but we do play fairly wide, just to stretch the width a little bit, because we don't want people bumping into each other and getting in each other's way. And our passing directness is shorter, and we play with a standard tempo. It's nothing special, but this is just the template that we use, and then we will adjust it later based on the opposition that we're playing. For example, we may decide that we need more possession, so we'll lower the tempo and we'll go fairly narrow to try and keep hold of the ball during a particular game. Now, one of the secrets that we have to this tactic is the underlap, and the underlap in FM22 is absolutely awesome. Swansea are probably the worst crossing team in the Premier League. We have terrible attributes when it comes to crossing, and yet we are, when you look at the league cross completion, we are top of the league in terms of completing crosses. So how can a team that's so bad at crossing actually be on top? Well, there are a number of secrets, and the underlap is an absolutely great tool because, well, the fullbacks are bombing up into these wide areas, and what they will do is they will not cross. They will turn and look inside for support. Now, what that means is that players are receiving the ball at the edge of the area, and they are crossing now from the edge of the area rather than from out wide. And we'll see some examples shortly of actually that happening. And so if you're crossing from nearer to the player you're crossing to, the chances of it completing is much greater. So this underlap is a very underestimated tool in FM22. And recently we played Fulham, and here's some examples. Now, Marty did not cross, but Lloyd crossed from just about the edge of the line of the area. Now the chance of that completing was much greater, and so we scored. And Marty again, bombing up in the wide, stops, checks back in, and look where Lloyd is, and then he crosses, and Adley is able to put it away. It's these areas at the edge of the penalty area which this tactic is exploiting. And again, there's another example in the second half. Malassi is going to go outside, but his cross is from the edge of the area again, and Grimes puts it away to make it. We absolutely hammered Fulham that day 6-2. And so this underlap is a very, very key part of what we're trying to do to create space. And by doing that, what happens is, it works. Work the ball into the box is very key to it. We don't want them hitting early crosses. We want them to get into those positions at the edge of the area where they can connect easier with the target player. Sometimes we'll play for set pieces. We have some good depends on who we're playing. And also run at defense. We won't always have that on, because depending on the team that we're playing against. If we're getting absolutely annihilated and tackled out of the game, we're not going to have run at defense on. But we're always going to be more expressive. We have very creative players in midfield. In terms of in transition, we're going to counter press, but we might turn off the counter press sometimes, because if it's not doing anything, then why have them running around like headless chickens? But that's a very, very simple little setup. And in terms of the lines, this is where it becomes really important when against certain opposition. The template says higher line of engagement and a higher defensive line. And so we will then look to control the ball in the middle of the field. But against certain opposition, we're going to have to change that. We'll play with a high, more often trigger press, and sometimes we'll get stuck in, and sometimes we won't. Against teams who are not brave, have poor aggression, and are not good tacklers, then we'll get stuck in, get in their face. Against fast teams, we are going to lower the line. And we're going to play pretty much the same way, but we're just going to drop the lines. And this seems to work very, very nicely. And if we need possession, then we are going to lower the line of engagement, which means, and we'll couple that with a shorter passing, lower tempo, which means that hopefully we are going to be all compressed into the middle of the pitch and not giving the ball away so often. So this tactic does allow you to tweak according to the team you're playing and the what's happening on the pitch. And in terms of the players themselves, it's very, very simple. We have a goalkeeper who's hopeless at distribution, so he's just a goalkeeper on defend. Good shot stopper, but absolutely hopeless at distribution. We have two fullbacks who take more risks, shoot less often, sit narrower, close down less, and mark tighter. Now, close down less is because I don't want them diving into tackles, running at players, and then getting skipped past, which allows the opposition space at the flanks. We're just going to track them back, turn them, and then they're going to have to play the ball back inside into where we are particularly strong. And that's the idea of this, and that's why they're told not to close down, but to allow the space outside as space for the opposition. We're not really bothered about that. We have a ball-playing defender on defend with no instructions, and a ball-playing defender on cover also with no instructions. And we have a defensive midfielder on defend. It's not a spectacular tactic, this, and his job is to cover basically for the back two when we're under pressure. He just has to take fewer risks. And then we have a central midfielder on support who started as a box-to-box, but I found it better having him available to the defensive midfielder, and those two act as a link to the more creative players that we have. The central midfielder on support is instructed basically to do nothing. And then we have an advanced playmaker whose only instruction is to close down more, and that's because he has the attributes to do that. And he has good acceleration, good agility, decisions, he's very aggressive, and he can close down. And we have Mazala either on attack or support, depending on who we're playing or how the game is going. His instructions are just dribble more and shoot less often. Now, if he was no good at dribbling, then we wouldn't have him on dribble more. And if he was better at shooting, and he would be not on shoot less often. But because of his personal attributes, we've just adjusted him to fit the tactic that we're doing. And these midfielders are key also, because these midfielders are also going to be getting into positions at the edge of the penalty area. And with the underlap working, they're going to be in a lot of space when we are going forward. And we are up front, we have two advanced forwards, and they are on roam from position and tackle harder. And the roam from position also creates the space, because they'll often be out wide or at the edge of the penalty area, and crossing from the edge of the penalty area is much more effective, and it allows our midfielders the space in the middle to get into good goal scoring positions. Our fullbacks are also either going to be going outside, or a lot of the time they will drift into the middle with the underlap, and they will have opportunities from the edge of the area to score or to cross. It's a tactic that works really, really well. It's worked phenomenally for us in terms of what we've done so far in this save. And the beauty of it is it's not plug and play. It's really a tactic that has evolved, and that's part of the fun of Football Manager, is to set up your shape and then use the resources that you have to maximize how you play and to get the most out of your team. And that's it, really. I can't really say any more about this tactic than I've already said. It's a tactic that allows you to adapt to the opposition by making small changes. We can beat Liverpool with this tactic by being very, very aggressive and dropping the line a little bit and just increasing the passing range. And we can beat teams who play at 200 miles an hour by dropping the line, by reducing the tempo, and it is a tactic that has actually served us very well. And so it's not my intention here to say use this tactic, but it is really just to explain to people how it's worked and how important the underlap is in FM22 and how it's so underused when playing with attacking fullbacks. And this can make the difference between a very, very good season and an absolutely magnificent season. And that's it for this video from a Liberty Stadium where we are still top of the world. I hope you got something out of this, and hopefully we will see some of you in the Swansea save where you can see some of this underlap in action. And all that I need to say now is, if you are new to the channel, why not subscribe, like, watch and comment. Help the channel to grow and help us to support a very worthwhile cause that you can see scrolling above. And that's it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give us a great big like, and hopefully we'll see some of you over for the Swansea save and see where we end up at the end of season 5. Take care always, and we will see you soon.